Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat. First off, I'm going to apologize for all the light bulb glares, but gotta have the light bulbs or we can't see what's going on. So as soon as I move this, you won't have that problem anymore. We're going to play with the art doll stencil that I just put in the shop. I don't know, what was it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I don't even know now. But anyway, I have some really cheap watercolor paper because that's all I have right now. But we're going to make one of these fun little dolls. This was the first one I did that I showed you guys, where I put a magazine face behind. And I liked this idea because I thought you could put it over a page. You could decorate this, or you could, if it wasn't such a mess, have it so you could write on the back. But yeah, I mean, or I guess you could just glue it together and have it as like a tag to go in a pocket. So however you want with something like that. These ones didn't aren't doubled over. So they're just like you could use almost like bookmarks or tags, whatever, because there's quite a bit of writing room on the back of these. The one problem is they're pretty tall. So I think the one we'll do today, I'm going to cut it down a little bit just so that, kind of like I did, for this one. But I did make these three, and let's see. For this one, I used this hair and face, and you can see I kind of, not on purpose, but made her face a little fatter. But it's not that big of a deal because you can just cut them out however you want them. This is just a guide, a starting point kind of thing, but anyway, I did just doodling, stamped some numbers. This is a piece of fabric that I had stamped on previously. It was just in my little scrap bin. And then this is a piece of Tim Holtz paper that I squished up. But this is just all watercolored paper before, before anything else. And then I just cut it out. So I watercolored it first, then got the design on there. Actually, you know what I did with this one, which is what we're going to do today. I forgot. Sorry. I've done a few different ways. I inked it. So I used the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide in walnut stain. And I just used my inker to go around the design. And then I painted using watercolors. And so that blended those edges in and all that kind of thing. I did the same with the hair. And then I just added some watercolors and stuff like that. So that's what I did with that one. This one, you can see the paint on here on the stencil. I put the stencil down on the paper, watercolored around it, moved the stencil away, and then just filled it all in. It's not the best way to do it because, as I'm sure you will realize, watercolor is going to seep under. But again, if you're going to cut it out, you can just cut off the seep, the part that seeped out. And I did the same, with the dress, and then I added other colors and stuff like that. And then this one I did using the Distress Oxide in walnut again, and used water to blend it out and then painted. But all of them, you can see I've added little bits of old paper, stickers, whatever. I doodled on that one. You could do you could do a million things. And I know these ones are all pretty neutral, but I'm going to do a brighter one today, kind of along these lines. So, and that I did with the Distress Oxide as well. Okay. So today we're going to get our little body here. I do like, this one was really kind of hard because I attached it from the get-go, the head. So I'm not crazy about the blue around the face here. I would prefer it to be more of a skin tone or something. So now I've decided I like this better, where you do the face separate from the body and then glue the head on. See, it's just glued on back there. So yeah, I don't know. You just got to play with them, honestly, and figure out how you like to do it. And the other thing is, sorry, I keep thinking I'm ready to start and then I do something else. But see, I flipped the stencil over. So depending on, if you flip it over, you're going to get this arm on one side or the other. See, they look different, but it's the same stencil, if you see what I'm saying, just because their arms are on opposite sides. Okay, now we're going to start. And I've got Wilted Violet Distress Oxide. But you use any color combo you want. Just have fun with it. That's really what these art dolls are about. I feel that they're not meant to be super strict or structured. They're meant to be fun. Like they're, you know, at least that's the way I feel about it. I'm sure there's people that get super like wound up and, you know, want it very much one way or another, but I kind of like to just make them fun and funny and crazy and whatever, you know. But it's totally up to you, the look that you want. You can get totally serious about it. You could Zen doodle. I don't know if you guys have heard of Zen doodling. If you haven't, look it up because it's pretty cool. But you just do all different kinds of doodle designs within, say, a circle or whatever, but you could do it like within her dress area kind of thing. And I do ink this whole part in here because I cut it away. So I'm not worried about how much of it ends up sticking around. Well, it would probably be best to tape this down. You'd probably have a lot more success, but I, of course, I don't ever think of those things, or I just don't ever take the time to do that. But you do it the way you want to do it, because probably taping it would be a very smart thing to do. Okay, I think I'm going to do this head again. I haven't done this one yet, but I kind of like the crazy hair on these. So I have this gathered twigs that I'm going to use around her face down here. Because I think once I use the paintbrush and lighten this up, and I'm not pushing very hard at all, it'll end up making it a decent skin tone. And then for the hair, what color hair do I want to do on her? I didn't even think about that. I don't know if I want to do, I could do that blue again. I don't know. I kind of like to do the crazy hair. I guess it's because I've never had crazy colored hair, so I just think it's fun to do on these. Ooh, let's do this. The blueprint sketch. I don't know if I have a little dauber for that. I have a whole jar of the little foamies. I don't know if I have one of those. Oh, I think I do. You know what? I'm just going to use one of these for now because I don't have another handle and I don't feel like taking those off and getting ink all over myself. So I'm just going to use this. It will work just fine. Oops, I just moved it. Okay. Blueprint sketch is what I'm using. And the thing is, you can always add more to like a piece of plastic, or if you have a glass Tim Holtz, like mixed media mat, whatever you call it, you can use that to dab your ink onto. Or if you have the sprays, you could just be dipping into, you know, like spray a little on there and dip into that. This is just the crazy way I do it. I'm sure there's better ways. Okay, so very weird color combination, but I think that'll be good because we can add other colors. See, this is what I'm talking about when you put the ink on there and then you can use it like paint or whatever. But I also have paint and I also have metallic paint, which you guys saw. I've been having fun using the metallics. So the thing you can do, and it will probably look like a complete hot mess for a few minutes because, you know, you get these colors and they might run into each other, or I don't know, sometimes it just ends up as a hot mess, but you can usually get it dabbed out like with a paper towel. And like I said, a lot of it can be cut away, so you don't have to stress about that. And if you have like more skin tones, in watercolors or something, or anything, markers, colored pencils, whatever. And you could use, for the bodies, you could also use like scrapbook paper. I mean, you don't have to do this the way I'm doing it. I'm just giving you an idea. Just something fun if you want kind of that artsy look. But if you don't want to go to all this, then, you know, you can totally do it by coloring them or whatever. And they're going to look cool like that too, because I'm sure you guys can come up with some really cool stuff doing something different than I'm doing. Because my way's not the right way. It's just a way. And watercolors always dry lighter than what they appear. So remember that when you're painting. See, I'm inching up to the hairline here. I don't really want the blue in the face, is what I'm trying to, you know, make happen. And you could ink the face part and then move your stencil over and do the hair and do them separate and then just put them all together. That's another way you can do it. You don't have to do it all one piece like this. Now, you can see I'm out of the lines, but I'm not going to worry about that because I can cut it away. You know, I can fix that. So I'm not going to stress. Took out way too much color there. Less water here, just trying to get some color, but not, you know, have it crazy. Okay, so now we can do kind of the same thing with the hair, and we can add other colors in. We don't have to just have this color, although this blue is pretty great, but yeah, even though I'm an 80s kid, I never had crazy hair colors. My dad was, I never really wanted to though, but my dad was definitely like, So it's so funny now because I think all the time when people say, oh, I don't want my kids to dye their hair or whatever color or whatever, I'm like, I'll take that over some of the other things that go on. My kids have never really wanted to, but I always think compared to a lot of things, I'll take some hair color. I'm putting some pink in here. Take some of that away. I just want, you know, just something fun. Since I did the other ones pretty neutral colored. But yeah, I don't think my dad would have gone for it anyway, even if I had wanted to do that as a youth. He wasn't even, I did get a lot of ear piercings, you know, just in the meaty part of your ear and kind of up, because that was the thing when we didn't do noses or any of those kind of things, but definitely lots. I think I had 3, wasn't that many, but don't have them anymore. They closed up. Just one. All right, so that's gonna dry. But yeah, he was sort of not super crazy about that, but he allowed it, so I did do that. Okay, so I'm going to take some of my wilted violet here and put it on my little piece of plastic. I have to get a different piece of plastic, but let's see what we can do. I know I'm off screen. I'm just adding the, can't get a hold of it. Adding the color there. So I can use it like watercolor. But you can use anything. Like I said, you can use markers. You can use colored pencils. You could even draw on the back of scrapbook paper Like if you have the scrapbook papers that are white on the back, you just take a pencil, draw on the back, cut it out, and you have, she's already all dressed up and fabulous. You don't even have to mess with all this. See, now I'm going out of the line and all that. I don't care because I'm going to cut it out, like I mentioned. And I usually do the neck the same color, but, you know, do it the way you want it. If you want to get real technical about skin color and whatever. I usually do leave a space in there that isn't really part of the stencil, and then I usually close up the dress. Oh, I was going to do this shorter. Well, I guess when I cut it out, I'll make it shorter. Forgot already because I'm too busy yapping. So essentially, I'm just trying to get kind of at least touch those lines with some water to mellow them out a little bit. And that part in there is going to get cut out too. And don't get real tough on yourself. Like, I mean, you can see this looks like a disaster. But once you cut them all out and do other stuff to it, I mean, it turns out fine. So that one that I showed you, did I use? Let's use this peacock feather. Move this. It's always interesting with these because I always get them everywhere. I am not crazy about the sprayers, and I know I've said it 1,000 times, but I don't love the sprayers on these bottles. So since this is a little bit wet, it's going to hopefully, you know, spread out a little bit. And I know you don't have to spray, you can do other things, but I do like the spritzy look. And I like it when it does that kind of thing. Because once I cut that sleeve out, it's not going to look that weird. I'm just going to take away a little bit of the water. I feel like I need my water bottle, but I'm not sure where I put that. I keep moving stuff. Because I took everything downstairs and upstairs and all that. So then I get all mixed up. Okay. I think that's good. Trying to decide what else I want to do right now. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I have some, this isn't as coarse as it should be. It should be a coarse salt. This is more of a, I mean, it is coarse. It's not table salt, but I still think it could be larger pieces of salt is what you want. You don't want table salt. But when you put salt on watercolor, it kind of makes it bloom. And I'm sure y'all have seen stuff like this because lots of artists do stuff with salt. So I'm going to pause for just a minute. I might put a little bit in her hair. Just a little. And I'll get this dry and then I'll come back and I'll get it dry and cut out so that you don't have to sit here and watch me cut it out. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I did add a little more watercolor to her hair after it dried because it was just super light and not anything really. So I just kind of fixed that. But here they are all cut out. And all I use is scissors and an X-Acto blade to do the inside part there. And then I take pens. I have my Arteza Inconic pens and they're 0.4. I don't know if you guys can probably not see that because it's in this weird silver writing. But anyway, that's what they are. And then I just kind of do that sketchy line. And these ones I did in black ink. And you can totally just do black ink. But I thought since I did the colors, I might as well do some color. But you determine how you want to do that. Or if you even want to do it, you could just draw a face on there and be done. But I'm going to do it different. So I'm just going around, and I'm not trying to do like a continuous perfect line or anything. In fact, I kind of just do it messy because then it just feels more natural to me. It doesn't feel as, I don't know what you would call that. Like, it has to be perfect and the stress is on, and, you know, I don't like stuff like that. So I don't do it like that. I don't like to stress myself any more than I already do. So, and I'm just going squiggly and turny, loopy on here, and I'll show you up closer in just a second because I know it can be hard on a camera. And almost like I'm writing, you know, on some of these spots because I just like that look. But if you want to draw in more like a more perfect hairstyle or perfect curls or whatever, I just like to do that. So I don't know how well you guys can see it. It is better to do it in the black, and I'll show you in the black just so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay, that is that. And then for the face, I am going to use black ink just because I think you'll be able to see it better. I want you to see that she has eyeballs and all that from, I don't want it to look weird like she's just not put together. So I just do like an arch and an arch, and then I just do a circle, and I leave a little space in there, almost like the white or the glint in your eye, you know, where the light hits your eyeball. And you kind of want to leave them, if you can, you know, on the same side. Like, you don't want to have one white part of your eye or glint on your eye on this side and one on the opposite side, because this is what tells you where the person is looking. I know you can't see that far, but do you see what I mean? The little spot left in the black part of the eye, they need to be on the same side of the eyeball so that she's looking that way or that way, whatever. They just need to be on the same side. And then you can do any kind of nose you want. I'm just going to do a little droop like that. And a funny little smile. It doesn't have to be, it can be bigger. This one I just did the 2 dots for the nose. This one I just did almost like a half circle. And then the smile is just, you can do it however. And then I do like to do a bit of an eyebrow, and I try to just make these pretty fine because I don't want big, huge bushy eyebrows like I have, for example. Nothing wrong with bushy eyebrows, right? But anyway, on a picture, it can look odd if they're super dark, you know what I mean, and bushy. So that's how I do the face. But you can do however you want. And then this turned out kind of cool. It did bloom. Not a ton because I didn't have the right kind of salt, but you can see. Oh, and the way you get this off, I forgot to tell, or I didn't do this with you guys. You just have to rub it. Don't scratch it or anything. You just rub like that until all the little granules are off. So they're all off now, but you can kind of see the bloom, you know, where it just turned a little bit white in spots, like right there. So anyway, just a fun little extra on that. I'm going to do some of these swirls, and these are just Stampin' Up! Stamps from 2001, so you can see how old I am. But I don't have that peacock feathers, so I'm just going to use Mermaid Lagoon. They're not going to be identical, but it's fine. They are close enough. You could, of course, do this all in black. You know, that'll give you that pop. So it's totally up to you how you want to do that. I don't want to stamp the same swirl on her arm as is on the rest of her dress because that just looks weird, because then it looks like really flat. I don't know if that makes sense. What I'm saying is, if you were wearing a dress with a swirl on it, you would have this part of your body is separate from your arms. So they're not going to be the same swirls, if you see what I'm saying. I don't know if it matters really with this stamp a whole lot, but... Okay, you could doodle, stamp, paint flowers, draw flowers. I mean, there's just like a million things that you could do. I want to outline her dress. Actually, maybe I better use this pinky color. And I'm doing the same thing, just that real, some squiggles, some whatever. And this is more like her hand over here, just barely on the edge. I guess I should have done that in more of a skin tone, but it's the same color as the dress. So, and then like the sleeves, however. And then this one's kind of like it's in, like the dress has a pocket, so I might do like some little gathered lines or whatever. And again, I'm not trying to draw it perfect. I want it to look like all sketchy and really just have fun playing, because that's what it is. And they're going to look awesome in a journal. Like they're going to look very, I'm going to do this cool, like it's got like a flowy neckline or something. I don't know. I'm not a clothing designer for a reason. And then I always leave an extra bit of like the white up there just because I don't like them. Like I don't want to have to glue them like this because they look weird like that with their, looks like their chin's coming out of their chest. So I want to leave some space, and that gives me something to glue it on as well. Then it's got an attaching spot, if you see what I'm saying. I'm going to do some little other circles, but you can get as fancy schmancy doing this as you want. Like just some different size dots is all I'm doing. Nothing real earth shaking. Just have fun with it. I love making art dolls. I know they're not for everybody, but I really think they're just a lot of fun. And if you're not into, you know, people in your art, then this probably isn't for you. But I really enjoy, I mean, like a lot of times I feel like something's not finished if it doesn't have a person in it. I don't know, that's just my thing with art. But I know a lot of us are different. Like I don't, or something alive anyway, like a bird, or I don't know. I just like to have those elements. But a lot of people find this kind of stuff really creepy, and I mean, you just got to do what you like. Like this kind of thing is not, of all the stuff I do, my son is not crazy about these art dolls. He just thinks they're too weird and he just doesn't like them. So, and that's totally fine. I mean, we can't all be the same. Do the things you like in your art. This is just what I like. You could also do like acrylic paints, like just brush them on to some paper and then draw the design of the art doll on the back and cut them out, and that could be their clothes. So you could do some really cool mark making and things like that. And use that paper. You could do collage, like collage masterboards, and cut those out, like, you know, draw the design on the back, cut them out. Looking for my scissors. And use those for the clothes. I mean, there's like so many things. I feel like this needs to be thinner. It feels too thick to me. So that's what we're doing. That's what she needed. Okay. And then we're going to glue her head. I like to just put the glue, especially on the white part, because I know I'm going to cover all that up, because I don't want to see the white. And you can tilt their heads, you can put them straight, you can, it's kind of nice if you tilt them to have maybe their chin off a little bit, because when we turn our head or whatever, our neck and our chin are not lined up anymore, because we're turning away from where our neck is. I don't know. You guys are probably like, you're insane. But anyway, that's just, visually, it's just more appealing like that. Like this one, she's more looking down, so it's kind of more in line. This one's more in line. This one's out over here a little more. I don't know. It's just however you want to do it. It just changes the look of your doll. I feel like she needs a little, maybe rouge on her cheeks. I don't know if these even work anymore. I've had them for 100 years and I never ever use them. I don't know why. It's nothing like I don't like them. I just never use them. The Tim Holtz Distress crayons. She just needed a little color on her face. Not a lot. I don't even know that that made a big deal, but you can see it a little bit. All right. So a few ideas there. And I also talked about ideas that you can do. So you can add things. You could add things to this one too if you wanted. I kind of just like the swirls and stuff, but I love putting, you know, all of our paper junk on there. It's just kind of fun. And the metallic paints are always a blast, especially if you're making girly dolls, because they look great like that. So I really like how she came out. And a good height. These ones are a little bit tall. Like they might be too tall for a journal in their full height. But I just did them like that so that, I mean, you can do it how you want to do it. You can make them as long or short or whatever as you want. So I hope you guys liked this. If you have more questions or whatever, and if I come up with new ideas, then we'll just keep trucking along. So I hope you guys have an awesome day, and we will chat again soon. Love you guys. Bye.